Because, we can just kind of like go along and, oh shit, there's a pandemic, and oh shit, there's George Floyd, no fuck, there's Trump, it's like, so we all know that change is happening on that level, right? And, maybe by now we've gotten back, trying to get back to normal. I don't know. I mean, some sort of open space, clear water would be nice. I've kind of given up on thinking about getting back to normal. But, a lot of shit's gotten torn down, right? And it's continuing to get torn down. And, there's been a lot of grief around that, and a lot of pain around that, and a lot of rage around that. And in the process of all that, we're changing, right? The world is changing, we're changing. And our bodies are changing. And part of the way I think about this time, and Aaron and I actually talked about this a little bit last week, this movement into the age of Aquarius, is that there are different energies now bathing the planet, which are the substrate that give rise to forms manifesting out of those energies. And what people say is that the new forms are going to be based more on community and sharing, and less on patriarchy and domination. So I think it's good if we can, while we're seeing all the destruction that's going on, not keep our eyes on that, too much, maybe a little bit. We got to pay attention to what those guys are doing, right? But I think if we can, we want to save a lot of our energy for doing this kind of work. And building family and community and music and creativity and whatever we can do, because these energies that we're talking about, they really support our manifesting our deeper, higher selves. And they really support this community building. That's a lot of what Aquarius, as far as I understand, is about. So, is anybody else kind of feeling this? I'm seeing some head nods here.
Yeah.
Kind of with me on this, more or less. Cool. So I think it's important to focus on what's emerging in our bodies, in our hearts, in our families, in our communities. Because there is an opportunity here for some big changes, and Eugene, you were talking about, like, I want to make some good changes here, right? And I know that part of what's important about making changes, especially if we've been trying to do it for a long time, is we have to acknowledge to ourselves and to each other, like, oh, there is change happening, right? It's like, look at how far I've come in the last year or in the last 6 months. And on a day-to-day basis, it might feel like I'm still the same old self-centered, worried, fearful person that I was. But, gradually there's opening, and there's connection, and there's more patience and more gratitude and more understanding and so on. So I think we have to maybe every day or every week, like, hey, it's happening. I'm doing it. We're doing it. I think one thing I also wanted to mention that, and I don't know whether this has to do with being 70 or where I'm at in my life or, my spiritual practice, but I'm kind of in the space of doing less is doing more. And part of that is kind of like being more aware of and receptive to just kind of what's going on in the space, and like, how can I support this thing in happening, rather than, oh, I've got my idea and I got to get over there and I'm going to do that and not pay attention to what everybody else is trying to do. I've done that for a long time. That's the whole road rage story, right? But being able to just relax a little bit and lay back a little bit and recognize that there's something good that's wanting to happen. And I know that that's it's a hard one for people, because so many of us grew up with with trauma of various sorts, and we felt like the world was against us, or we just kept getting slammed or beat up, or bad stuff happened. So to make a shift to thinking like, oh, well, maybe I'm a part of something bigger here, and that thing is benign and beneficent and has a good integrity to it. And anyway, I try to kind of envision that and meditate on that and visualize that. And that's how I got you all here today. So, thank you very much. we got you all here. So yeah, doing less is doing more. I say paying attention to what's happening. What I wrote down here is paying attention to the things that are trying to wake me up. Mm-hmm. That's kind of a cool sentence. Mm-hmm. wake me up and wake us up, right? So, if you got people in your life that'll, slap you on the face every once in a while and say, "Hey, dude, stop doing that old thing. You're stuck in that rut. But do that other thing that you're trying to do." Then maybe that's a good thing. So we can do that for each other also, in a nice way, in a kind way. Yeah, and so all the teachers that I'm aware of have been saying the same thing all along, which is love each other, right? Be in service, connect with the earth. And like I was saying, trust in higher powers to provide support and direction. And that's a good one right there. And the other thing is, because we're here to meditate, I've seen so much value in just training my mind, right? To be able to pay attention, and have a sense of when I'm getting distracted, so I can pull my mind back. And also, if we train our mind and we're aware and we kind of know our patterns, then we're much less likely to be manipulated by manipulative, unscrupulous people who obviously are out there. We can say, no, thank you very much. I don't want that course. I'm working on a different track here. So that's important. And I want to invite you also to just check in with your body and let yourself be in a position where you're relaxed and comfortable. And if you're aware of any places where there's tightness or contraction or pain, just very gently go there with your awareness and bless those places. Bring them some love and kindness. And take as much time as you want to do that, and then once you've done that and you feel like you've checked in with yourself, just let yourself check in with the breathing. And let your mind just ride on the breath. In and out and relaxed as it wants to be. So just as we want to be loving and kind with our bodies, we also want to be loving and kind with our minds. Sometimes when we meditate, we try to cram our mind into a tight little place and get it to want to behave. But a mind's going to do what it's going to do, and thoughts are going to do what they're going to do. So I got some directions from my teacher recently, and he said that when the thoughts arise, just say, "Hello, thoughts." You just welcome them. But he said, don't follow them when they want to go away and take you on a little journey. Just let them go and stay with the breath. So it can be a very gentle kind of process of deepening into presence and skillfully working with thoughts. So that there's a separate part of awareness that's tracking, like, oh, there's the thoughts, and like, okay, by thought, come back to the breath. Once we've sat for a while and there's some awareness of our situation, you might find that there's just a little bit deeper relaxation that wants to happen. The muscles might want to just let go a little more. Sit a little more deeply into your seat, into the presence. That can happen. And as we're starting to come towards the end of our meditation time, I want to invite you all to take some moments to really appreciate yourself. And appreciate the fact that you chose to spend a couple hours on a Sunday to practice with other people. And appreciate all the other things, so many things that you do to support yourself and to support your family and to support your community, to support the all that is. And just let there be some real gratitude and appreciation for that. And then when you feel like you're ready to wrap it up, when that feels complete, then very gently allow yourself to come back into the room and be present with the others.